So we've been cruising around on both the BMW R1300GS Option 719 and the Triple Black. This video is the top 5 things we loved about the bike. So the first thing for me, and it's an aesthetic thing, is the indicators that are integrated into the handguards. I thought they looked absolutely superb.
Yeah, really, really classy and cool. I think in general, all the bright work looks really, really nice.
Yeah, it's nice. The only issue I could see with that is if you are taking it off-road and you do bash those handguards,
yeah,
could be an issue, but I think aesthetically, brilliant. Okay, number 2, the Telelever suspension. BMW's been known for their Telelever suspension and you know, sort of doing things a little bit differently in general. And mate, the anti-dive on that, it was superb. Like, you wrap on the brakes and that front does not dive much at all.
I think the control you get with the suspension is unparalleled. With the rider modes, it feels like a completely different bike, and you can jam those front brakes on. Bike doesn't care. You can't even feel the bike dip.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved the Telelever suspension. It was one of my main highlights of the bike.
Number 3 is the colour scheme for the Option 719.
Beautiful.
Oh, so nice. That green and gold looks fantastic, and it really needs that extra bit of character to give it some soul and some look. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, the colour absolutely pops. Love the gold wheels. Love that green colour. Love the little Option 719 logos all over it.
Yeah.
I just think it looks, for me, it's the best looking bike in that in the range. Looks so much better than the Triple Black. Like, it looked okay, but wasn't a massive fan. So that gets a massive thumbs up from me.
Yeah, and you'll hear us say this a lot, but the styling is a great point here. BMW's attention to detail on this bike is so good.
Yeah, it's funny because I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I mean, they're not really a fan of the looks of the R1300GS." I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it looked so much better than the older version. The 1250 was a great bike and is a great bike, very functional, but you would never say it's a good looking bike. Whereas this one, particularly the Option 719, I think it looks superb.
Even that little cross headlight just gives it extra character, and that was what was lacking on that 1250GS. And I'm not saying it's a bad bike, it just needs that bit more.
So, next one, the engine. It's rapid. I absolutely love the engine on this bike. It is so much more, feels so much more powerful and peppy than the R1250.
Yeah, it's smooth, but it's powerful. It really has a split personality. If you put it in eco mode, you can cruise along and you're wondering where your doona is because it's like riding a bed. Put it in dynamic mode, you're doing power wheelies merging onto the highway. I mean, this engine is a work of art.
And it's interesting because the engine does actually make that much more power. I think it might even be the same amount of horsepower as the 1250. But because it's dropped a little bit of weight, it feels a lot more rapid.
Yeah, and it's the way it delivers the power too. It's so smooth.
But that's just, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a smooth boxer engine, and that's something you could never accuse a boxer of being, is smooth.
Yeah.
This one is. Did you notice, and this is the first time I actually noticed this when I dropped it back to the to Bike Beers in Parramatta. I sort of was riding in, I looked down and went, hang on, the cylinders are not offset. So all BMW R series engines, the cylinders, the left one's slightly in front of the right one, just the way that the pistons are going to work.
Yeah.
These ones, they've done some trickery. They're actually a lot more in line with each other. So I'm not sure what they've done.
I don't know.
To actually make them directly opposite each other, but there's something going on in the engine. Maybe the way they've changed things up.
They've got a magic crank.
Yeah, they've done something, but it's so that adds to the symmetry of the bike.
Yeah. So finally, let's talk about the tech, and there's plenty to talk about.
And there's plenty, and it's industry-leading tech on this bike.
Absolutely. And let's start with the best piece of tech, and we both agree on this, radar-guided cruise control.
It was flawless. So I was on the freeway, I'd put it on, it'd slow me down, it'd speed me up, knock it up a couple of notches if you needed to. I didn't have an issue with the radar cruise control on this at all. Probably the best radar cruise control that I've ever had on a bike, and I've had a few now. You know, I had it on the R1250 RT, which was great. We had it on a Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus, which was awesome. Also had it on a BMW R18 Transcontinental, but this one was probably better than all of those.
Very un-German. There's 3 settings for the distance between you and the car in front of you. The first one is really close. The second one's great, and the third one is nice and laid back. So unlike what you'd expect where you have 50,000 different distances, there's 3 and they all make sense.
Yeah. The other thing on electronics, it's got a stack of rider modes. They all work really well. I had it in rain mode when it was raining.
Yep.
You know, stuck it in enduro mode at one point. That was like I was riding on a cloud.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, and they all feel justified.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, a lot of bikes fall into this category where the ride modes feel much for muchness the same. Absolutely not. To link back to what I was saying about that duality of the engine, put it in rain mode, it's nice and docile. Put it in road, now you've got the perfect all-rounder.
So also on the electronics, blind spot monitoring worked really well and
How
really
good is
nice to
that?
have. The automated brakes,
Yep.
Which I'm not actually sure what that's called, but the assisted braking.
Yep.
Yeah, like just the electronics on this bike are industry leading, but you really need to spend some time with the manual working through them.
Yeah, and again, well thought out. You can change how intensive those auto brakes are going to help you. And I think the best part about it is, much like this tech should be, it doesn't interfere, but it will save your life. So why wouldn't you have it?
Yeah, no, I love the tech on this bike. So that's the top 5 things we loved about the R1300GS, and we'll have a full review of the bike coming up on the channel in a few weeks, but check out this playlist of the other bikes in the R series range.